Association with pure devotees. Although many different processes for developing love of Godhead have been explained so far, Srila Rupa Goswami now gives a general description of how one can best achieve the high position. The beginning of ecstatic love of Godhead is basically faith. There are many societies and associations of pure devotees, and if someone with just little faith begins to associate with such societies, his advancement to pure devotional service is rapid. The influence of a pure devotee is such that if someone comes to associate with him with a little faith, one gets the chance of hearing about the Lord from authoritative scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, by mercy of the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, one gradually develops his faith in the descriptions of such authoritative scriptures. This is the first stage of association with pure devotees. In the second stage, after one becomes a little advanced and mature, he automatically offers to follow the principles of devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee and accepts him as a spiritual master. In the next stage, under the guidance of spiritual master, the devotee executes regulative devotional service, and as a result of such activities, he becomes freed from all unwanted occupations. When he is freed from unwanted occupations, his faith becomes steadily fixed, and he develops a transcendental taste for devotional service, then attachment, then ecstasies, and in the last stage, there is pure love of Godhead. These are the different stages of development of pure love.
Yeah. So um, here we see that one of the main cause for any um, progress in devotional service or coming to devotional service itself is association of devotees. So most of the times, Srila Jiva Goswami writes that most of the times person comes and advances in Krishna consciousness by association of devotees, pure devotees. Exceptionally, sometimes Krishna may give special mercy to someone, but in general, person becomes Krishna conscious by association with devotees. So that's most generally that is the way. So Prabhupada is saying there are many societies, and ours is also one society, international society for Krishna consciousness. And of pure devotees, and if someone has just little faith, so what is required is Shraddhavan Jan. Shraddha Mulya Shuddha Nam Se Hate Te Bikar. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes Nityananda Prabhu, he is giving the holy name Shuddha Nam only with the exchange of Shraddha, only with the exchange of faith. So, if somebody has a faith, and with faith he hears about the Lord from scriptures with the help of pure devotees, then his faith starts growing. So initially there has to be little faith. That's why that is called as Adav Shraddha. Initial faith or little faith. But then eventually that faith will develop into a solid faith, Nishtha. Eventually it will come to the level of Nishtha. And then person goes ahead and ahead and ahead. So, and basically bhakti is the advancement in faith only. How much faith one has, based on that person will be able to accept. So, as he says here, just a minute, it's opening. So first stage of association is one develops faith in the scripture. And then when one advances, then he follows the principles of devotional service after advancement. and then eventually he takes initiation from bona fide spiritual master, and then he becomes more and more devoted to the process. Hmm. So, and of course, whole process is given then. It's basically this translation of this verse, Shunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. That verse is talking about. Okay. Yeah, please read ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Sachin Prabhu.
Only the most fortunate persons can achieve such success in life. Those who are simply academic students of the Vedic scriptures cannot appreciate how such a development takes place. In the Narad Pancharatra, Lord Shiva therefore tells Parvati, "My dear Supreme Goddess, you may know from me that any person who has developed the ecstasy of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who is always merged in transcendental bliss on account of this love cannot even perceive the material distress or happiness coming from the body or mind." Shall I continue, Prajit?
Yes, yes.
The affection and the dealing of love that the affection and the dealing of love that are different branches of original tree of love precede many varieties of affectionate manifestations that will not be discussed here. The different manifestations have been described by Sanatan Goswami in his Bhagavatamrita. Although the subject of such affections and dealings of love is very confidential, Sanatan, Sanatan Goswami has described them very explicitly. Sri Rupa Goswami thus conclude the first division of the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, offering up his treatise for the transcendental pleasure of Sanatan Goswami, who has established the transcendental beauty, and of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. It appears from his statement that the great Sri Jiva Goswami was not yet active when Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu was written.
Hmm. Little history. So he is telling that ultimately this faith, development of faith, it culminates into development of pure love. But this is not the case of everyone, or it is not that every person becomes so successful. We'll see many people keep dropping in between, but those who are very faithful followers, they continue on and on and on, and eventually they will attain the faith. Sometimes it may take 1-2 lifetimes more also, but still they can attain, provided they will continue the process. Now, based on how much sincerely, how much intensely one takes to the process, based on that the person may attain in the faster. But most important point is that continue the process, not take a break. If one takes a break, then it will delay further. So, and such a person is so rare who has developed love for personality of Godhead. And what is the characteristic? He is telling Lord Shiva, he cannot even perceive material distress or happiness. उनको कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है मटेरियल लाइफ वर्ल्ड में क्या हो कुछ भी हो जाए whether there may be happiness or distress, he just is merged in transcendental bliss. So this is little inconceivable for us yet, maybe to some degree. Some degree we are able to conceive, some degree it is inconceivable, because some degree we also have become, little aloof from this material happiness and distress. Some degree, previously we used to be very much excited in material happiness and extremely depressed in material distress. But now, thoda bahut to at least gravity has come to a little bit, means kind of, sobriety has come, right? But that full experience will be coming as we advance. And then affectionate manifestations. So as such हमारा भक्ति का जो 9 stages है, 9 stages only, yeah, आदो श्रद्धा, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, etc. It culminates in love, correct? Love of God. But ऐसा नहीं कि उधर ही खत्म हो गया सब कुछ हो गया प्रेम भक्ति प्रेम मिल गया तो हो गया. No, there are a lot of details of that love that will be discussed now in further chapters, 20 chapters onwards. What are different details of love? There are 5 types of bhavas, 5 types of, so many types of ecstasies, ये वो बहुत कुछ है. So it doesn't end. But हमको मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में अभी तक उतना ही बहुत है हमारे लिए. तब तो प्रेम भी बहुत बड़ा, it's like a Mount Everest thing for us. But anyway, still, it's not that it ends at prem. The prem is the beginning of spiritual life, one thing. Exactly. There are a lot of varieties and a lot of affectionate dealings. So bhakti is a very deep science. So there are so many things. So this is the first division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the first, you can say, first wave. There are 4 waves, four sections, four sections or something. Bhakti Rasamrita Northern, how it was, I don't remember exactly. Yeah, in the introduction it was there. Waves or sections they call it. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The ocean was divided into four this thing. So first one was about, it was the first one which comprises up to 19 chapters. Yeah, so this is the first division. Now second division there is more descriptions. Third, fourth, they are very advanced level. So Rupa Goswami has accepted this for the transcendental pleasure of Sanatana Goswami, and he is also saying for Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. Yeah, and Prabhupada says maybe Deva Goswami's name is not written because maybe he was not so active or he was his disciple, right? So maybe it may not be, his name may not be written, but all other Goswami's names have been written over here. So the Saints Bhaktivedanta summary study of the first division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu up to the descriptions of ecstatic love of Godhead, which are to follow the next. So we have completed the main portion of this book to be studied. Okay. So what do we do now?
New book you were telling, Teachings of Lord
Huh?
Teachings of Lord Chaitanya book, or whatever.
We will start then Teachings of Lord Chaitanya
Actually, Prabhuji,
next time onwards.
Okay, you suggested one book, Prabhuji. I don't remember that book name, but you told that you are reading that book, and if we take that book in our this slot, then
Life comes from life. I am okay, but it is again I am okay with any book of Prabhupada. You all should be okay. बहुत साइंटिफिक, आपको अगर साइंटिफिक एकदम अच्छा एक्सप्लेनेशन चाहिए, बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स टू बी क्लैरिफाइड, दैट इज वेरी नाइस बुक. Life comes from life. And of course, many concepts you may know already. But Prabhupada explains them very lucidly in that book. Life comes from life. So which one we should take next time?
Or else we can have Bhagavatam reading.
Bhagavatam we'll do after Bhagavad Gita is over. That is reserved for that.
2 years. One more year gap back then.
50%.
Yeah. Anyways, all of you are also reading it personally also. No? What will happen then? Other devotees Bhagavad Gita के बाद फिर से क्या करने का वो issue आ जाएगा. What to do after Bhagavad Gita? Right. Again Bhagavatam starting फिर से repetition हो जाएगा आप लोगों को.
So we can go for Proji. I think this out of two you can choose Proji, TLC and this life from like it's from
We'll read TLC, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. I think that is good.
Today we'll start or next?
We can start next time. अभी बीच में से कुछ चालू करेंगे.
Actually, Priji,
Maybe
introduction we did it with you of NOD.
Okay, we can do that then. We can at least go through it today. Introduction we missed, which is very important. That's why we are not able to tell कि ये क्या है करके. चलो, yes, go back to that dedication. Start from dedication. Next reading. To whom Prabhupada has dedicated this book? Six Goswamis of Vrindavan. And then Krishna book he has dedicated to?
His father Gauramohan.
Yes, his father Gauramohan. And Bhagavatam? Bhakti Siddhanta Sri Thakur. And Bhagavad Gita? Baldev Vidyabhushan. Correct. So this book is dedicated to six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Okay, I'll read. Then next you can read ahead. Preface. Nana Shastra Vicharanai Kalipunau Sadharma Sansthapakou Lokanam Hitakarino Tripuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatanam Raghuyugam Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Yes, so we can start telling preface.
Summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which was written in Sanskrit by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. He was the chief of the six Goswamis, who were the direct disciple of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he first met Lord Chaitanya, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada was engaged as a minister in the Mohammedan government of Bengal. He and his brother Sanatan were then named Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik, respectively, and they held responsible posts as ministers of Nawab Hussain Shah. At that time, 500 years ago, the Hindu society was very rigid, and a member of Brahman caste was at once rejected from Brahman society. That was the position of the two brothers, Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik. They belonged to the highly situated Saraswat Brahman community, but they were ostracized due to their acceptance of ministerial posts in the government of Jesus Christ. It is the grace of Lord Chaitanya that he accepted these two exalted personalities as his disciples and raised them to the position of Goswami, the highest position of Brahmanical culture. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya accepted Haridas Thakur as his disciple, although Haridas happened to be born of a Mohammedan family. Lord Chaitanya later made him the Acharya chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Shall I continue?
Yes, because this we know already. Go ahead with that.
Lord Chaitanya's principle is universal. Anyone who knows the society of Krishna and is engaged in the service of the Lord is accepted as being in a higher position than a person born in the family of Brahman. That is the original principle accepted by all Vedic literatures, especially Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Principle of Lord Chaitanya's movement in educating and elevating everyone to the exalted post of Goswami is taught in the nectar of devotion.
Yeah. So we know this Bhaktisaraj Thakur had a very nice debate between Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. There was a great conflict. Who are superior? So Bhaktisaraj Thakur, he proved how Vaishnavas are superior to the Brahmanas. And there are many statements in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. What is that? नैवोद्विजे परदुरत्यय वैतरण्या तद्वीर्यगायन महामृतमग्नचित्तां शोचे ततो विमुखचेतस इन्द्रियार्थ प्राणः पुमाति न कुलं न tu भूरिमानः. Telling Prahlad Maharaj that even if somebody is born in Brahmana family, he cannot deliver even himself. Whereas a person who is a Vaishnava, even though born in a Chandala family, still he can deliver his all forefathers also. So that's a special prerogative of being a Vaishnava. Yeah, please read ahead.
Lord Chaitanya made two brothers, Karmali, the village known as Amkeli in the district of Malda. And there, after that meeting, the brothers decided to return from services and join Lord Chaitanya. They became Rupa Goswami. Collected all the money he had accumulated during the service. Described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the accumulating in gold coins equal millions of dollars and feel large. Divided the money in a very exemplary manner, which should be followed by devotee, particular by humanity in general. 50% of his accumulated wealth was distributed to Krishna conscious persons, only Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. 25% was distributed to relatives and 25% for emergency expenditure. Main is also put and put him into jail. Turmeric, who was later to become a Srila, Sanatan Goswami, took advantage of his brother's personal money, which had been deposited to the village banker, and escaped from the prison of Hussain Shah. In this way, both brothers Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, go ahead, because this pastimes, by reading only we can understand. There is nothing much to describe further.
Yeah, this too I'll read. Rupa Goswami made Lord Prayag, Allahabad, Nanda, Dashwamed made the bathing ghat of the holy city. The Lord instructed him continuously for 10 days. The Lord particularly instructed Rupa Goswami on the science of Krishna consciousness. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, are narrated in our book Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Later, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada elaborated the teachings of Lord Chaitanya with profound knowledge of the revealed scriptures, authoritative reference from various Vedic literatures. Srila Srinivasa Acharya described this prayer to six Goswami that they were all highly learned scholars, not only in the Sanskrit but also in foreign languages, Persian and Arabic. Very scrutinizingly did all the Vedic in order to establish the faith of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the authorized principle of Vedic knowledge. The present Krishna conscious movement is also based on that. Therefore, generally known as Rupanuga, the followers and the followers of Rupa Goswami. It is only for our guidance that Rupa Goswami prepares his book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is now presented in the form of nectar of Buddha. Persons engaged in the Krishna consciousness movement may take advantage of this great literature and be very solidly situated in Krishna.
Yeah. So, all these Goswamis, they very scrutinizingly studied all Vedic literature and established the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada is saying that this our ISKCON movement is also based on authority of Rupa Goswami. So we know this famous pastime that when Prabhupada was at Radha Damodar, Srila Rupa Goswami appeared to him and he blessed him. He ordered him to go and preach in Western world, write the books, and he blessed him for his endeavors of preaching. And that's why Prabhupada is saying that it's all based on the authority of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. So also we are called as Rupanugas, or followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. So particularly that's why Rupa Goswami, although Sanatana Goswami is the eldest, senior most amongst all the Goswamis, but Rupa Goswami is considered to be the leader of all the Goswamis in that sense, and he accepts Sanatana Goswami as his spiritual master. And also that Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world, who is the most this most important Manjari of all the Manjaris, and especially she is the Manjari of Lalita Sakhi, and she is the most intimate Sakhi of Srimati Radharani. So when Sarup Damodar Goswami, that Gundija Marjan pastime was going on, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there was one Gaudiya Bengali Vaishnav who washed the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very boldly and drank water 3 times, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very upset. Publicly he did so. So then he called Sanatana Sarup Damodar Goswami and he told him, just see your Bengali Vaishnav, what he is doing. And next from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his behalf. So Prabhupada writes in that purport that this is very significant. Of Gaudiya Vaishnavas under Sarup Damodar Goswami's guidance. And next successor of Sarup Damodar Goswami is Srila Rupa Goswami. So that's why we are called as Rupanugas. So in Golok Vrindavan or in Navadvip Leela, both places, this is the similar hierarchy, we are having. Lalita Sakhi and Rupa Manjari, and here also Sarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami. So we are all called as Rupanugas or followers of Rupa Goswami. So and that's why Rupa Goswami wrote many books. But especially this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is considered to be one of the most important books on the philosophy and treatise of Bhakti. And Prabhupada says that devotees can take advantage of this literature to be solidly situated in Krishna consciousness. If one very carefully and sincerely studies this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he can become solidly situated in Krishna consciousness. So that's a special benefit of reading this particular book. So that is the effect of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yeah, please go ahead.
Bhakti means devotional service. Every service has some attractive feature which drives the servitor progressively on and on. Every one of us within this world is perpetually engaged in some sort of service, and the impetus for such service is the pleasure we derive from it. Driven by affection for his wife and children, a family man works day and night. A philanthropist works in the same way for love of the greater family, and a nationalist for the cause of his country and countrymen. That force which drives the philanthropist, the householder, and the nationalist is called rasa, or a kind of mellow, that is relationship, whose taste is very sweet. Bhakti rasa is a mellow, different from the ordinary rasa enjoyed by mundane workers. Mundane workers labor very hard day and night in order to relish a certain kind of rasa which is understood as sense gratification. The relish or taste of the mundane rasa does not long endure, and therefore mundane workers are always apt to change their position of enjoyment. A businessman is not satisfied by working the whole week. Therefore, wanting a change for the weekend, he goes to a place where he tries to forget his business activities. Then, after the weekend is spent in forgetfulness, he again changes his position and resumes his actual business activities. Material engagement means accepting a particular status for some time and then changing it. This position of changing back and forth is technically known as bhoga tyaga, which means a position of alternating sense enjoyment and renunciation. A living entity cannot steadily remain either in sense enjoyment or in renunciation. Change is going on perpetually, and we cannot be happy in either state because of our eternal constitutional position. This gratification does not endure for long, and it is therefore called Vipala Sukha or flickering happiness. For example, an ordinary family man who works very hard day and night and is successful in giving comforts to the members of his family, thereby relishes a kind of mellow, but his whole advancement of material happiness immediately terminates along with his body as soon as his life is over. Death is therefore taken the representative of God for the atheistic class of men. The devotee realizes the presence of God by devotional service, whereas the atheist realizes the presence of God in the shape of death. At death, everything is finished, and one has to begin a new chapter of life in a new situation, perhaps higher or lower than the last one. In any field of activity, political, social, national, or international, the result of our actions will be finished with the end of life. That is sure.
Yeah. So now, Rupa Goswami, he is giving the definition of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yeah, the definition is being spoken now. So, what is the definition? So, first he tells Bhakti. Bhakti means devotional service. So, this is the specific characteristic of Srila Prabhupada, wherein he translates Bhakti as not just devotion, but it is devotional service. Because without service, there is no meaning to devotion. Love means seva. Without seva, there is no existence of love. So, we know Srila Prabhupada, he gives a always very classic example of, the wife. That the wife is serving So if the wife really says that she loves the husband, then she should serve the husband. She should not just say keep on loving, I love you, and I love you, right? There should be service. Hmm. So same way in devotion also, one cannot have devotion without seva. First, the seva is the indication of devotion. Seva is the indication of love. Hmm. So bhakti. So that is the definition of bhakti. And rasa. Rasa means a kind of mellow or the pleasure which one derives from rendering that service. So Prabhupada is giving example of this people working so hard, day and night, isn't it? Nowadays we see that so prominently. People are working so hard, day and night. They are earning money. They are ready to do anything. Some people are traveling, to and fro. Last time somewhere we discussed, right? You remember? In sometimes people go from Pune to Mumbai in train. Sometimes they travel in local trains in Mumbai. My God, for us it is so difficult. Prabhupada says some people go even to other countries every day. Prabhupada observed that in Europe. So how is it that person can work so hard? There must be some impetus. So what is that impetus? If you ask them why are you working so hard, they will say for the sake of family. Mostly Indians may say for the sake of family. We have to maintain our family. That's their impetus, wife and children. But then outside India, maybe they may not say this. But if you ask specifically in India, they will say, oh, I have to maintain family. I must provide very nicely for family. So just to give happiness to family, so because he gives happiness to family, he gets himself also the happiness. And for that, he is ready to work so hard. Similarly, philanthropist, he is working for the society, country, society, etc. So much, You see that these people, freedom fighters, they practically gave up their life, isn't it? So what is the, generally everybody wants to preserve his life, right? Nobody wants to give up his life. Generally that is the general tendency of every conditioned soul, that he wants to preserve his life somehow or other. They gave that life, they were ready to give up that life. What was the impetus? That pleasure of country, love for country, so affection for the country. So that is the higher, that is also rasa. So this type of pleasure is very sweet, or this love or pleasure is very sweet. And they say Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram. So they had so much love for their country that they were ready to do anything. And such kind of feelings are also appreciated in the world. So, but this is again extended rasa. So in college also, we see that people are sometimes studying very hard. So is it that it is very pleasurable studying itself? Studying itself is not so pleasurable for most of the students. 95% plus students, it is not so pleasurable. But then, still one studies because one wants to earn money. So ultimately, all this whole, there is an impetus, or mellow, which one derives in these various endeavors in this world. So that mellow is called as rasa. But Prabhupada says that bhakti rasa is different from ordinary rasa. So person performs bhakti also. We see we are getting up early morning, although we may not want to get up. We may be chanting. Why? Why all these things we are doing? May not be always so pleasurable. Still we are doing. Because there is some mellow. Maybe the mellow of, a devotional service itself, we may get some mellow and bhakti, or kind of, intellectual conviction at least. That is a mellow that, okay, this is the process for perfection, or gratitude to spiritual master, commitment to spiritual master. So these are also different types of mellows. But these are spiritual mellows. Whereas there are, what we discussed before this, they are material mellows. So both are mellows. Without mellows, person cannot work on it. It is not possible. So actually, this word rasa cannot be translated in English. The closest word Prabhupada got is mellow, but rasa is totally different. So, like, how do you describe mango ras? Amras, how do you describe it?
By drinking it.
Unless until you drink it, you cannot. Nobody can describe it very fully, right? You may say, oh, mango rasa, it tastes some sweet, little sour, little sweet. It is yellow in color, looks very beautiful. Color is so beautiful to look at. Even the color itself is so nice. The fragrance is so wonderful. And the taste is so nice, sweet and sour. But then still one cannot get the full picture of what is exactly this mango juice. Only until one drinks, one cannot understand. Same way this rasa is something like that. Very difficult to understand, So sometimes, these boys and girls, they are ready to run away from family also. But the whole same parents who raised them, they are ready to forgo and they run away. So they take so much of race, police, सब करने के लिए तैयार है. So there is some rasa over there, isn't it? Some people go to Himalayas, some people climb Mount Everest. So, that time, Brahmagiri गए थे हम. I think Mayantu was there at that time. Some of you were there. We had gone to Nasik, Brahmagiri. My God, some devotees are so enthusiastic to climb that. And I am not at all enthusiastic. But then they get that rasa, climbing. So we see, although it may be some hard work or something may be involved, everybody is doing it due to some rasa, some mellow they get. And that's very difficult to describe in words, That can be only experienced by those who love it. But then, what is the difference between ordinary rasa in material world and the spiritual rasa in the spiritual world? The material rasa, it does not long endure. It goes off, Okay, you may climb the mountain for one day. You cannot keep on climbing it every day. You'll get frustrated like anything. You'll feel it to be punishment. So for one day it is nice to climb the mountain. But it cannot endure, isn't it? Similarly, mango juice, we may drink for some time. But okay, 10 glasses at the max. After 10 glasses, my God, no more. You don't want to drink it, isn't it? So this is the nature. Similarly, the rasa between boyfriend and girlfriend. As soon as they get married, that rasa is not so much there that you can experience. Those, I have personally heard from so many that it's not the same rasa after marriage. After marriage, there is more responsibilities come in picture. Rasa is not there that much. Similarly, the person may work very hard throughout his life for the family, but then later on he wants to retire also. He cannot keep working. And anyways, that rasa for the family at least has to end at the time of death. So basically what is rasa in this material world is personal sense gratification, maybe in a personal way or extended way, whatever personal is for oneself or one's own extensions of one's own self, that is family members and whatever it, further expansion. But entire thing is sense gratification. Whereas, so that's the rasa of material world. But in one word, if you want to sum up all the rasa, then you can say the rasa in the material world is sense gratification. Whereas in spiritual world, there are a lot of rasas. It's not only one. Of course, if you want to put it in one, then pleasure of Krishna. But there are a lot of varieties there. And the difference is that spiritual rasas, they do not end. They go on and on and on and on, Perpetually they go on. Like when there is a flower, so when the flower understands that Krishna is coming this way in Vrindavan, that flower tries to be so beautiful and it emits such beautiful fragrance, such wonderful fragrance and such beautiful, it increases its beauty in spiritual world. And when Krishna sees that loving offering of that flower, That flower has blossomed so beautifully just to give Krishna pleasure. Krishna feels very happy seeing that flower, and Krishna wants to give pleasure to that flower by smiling at him, that flower, by looking very affectionately, putting his affectionate glance and touching it sometimes, smelling it. So Krishna wants to accept the service of the flower, love of the flower, and in this way, Krishna becomes so pleased. And when by seeing Krishna is so pleased and relishing the beauty and fragrance and the softness of the flower becomes more excited, and it again wants to, it again increases its beauty. And Krishna seeing that, flower is wanting to give him more love, Krishna also increases his own beauty and his own love. And in this way, this type of thing goes on for eternity in the spiritual sky. So there is no satiation, there is no limitation, there is no temporariness. Whereas in material world, person always wants to, he cannot, either he, by nature of thing itself, that rasa is over, that is the first thing. Like for example, there may be feast in the, in the voice or in temple, like in our kitchen today was dosa morning. So, but then, just okay, you like it, huh? so then, but that gets over, right? It doesn't remain forever, right? The thing itself gets over. That is one thing. Second is that even the thing may be there, but we cannot relish it further. As I gave example, that you may take 10 glasses of mango juice. After that, even though you may like mango juice, you cannot tolerate it, right? So that, although it may be available, but still it becomes, unacceptable. Or even if one likes it, like family rasa that is described, even though one may like it and it is available also, but still the time takes it away. The situation in this world, temporariness of this world, it takes it away. That's why it is called as chapal sukh. So 3 ways, minimum of these 3 ways, it is terminated. Either by, first one, either by the limitation of the thing itself, second by limitation of our own senses to enjoy it, and third one is the nature of this time, nature of this world, that it just, it is just, taken away from us. So, Prabhupada is telling, and that's why people want to keep changing. They want change, right? Like, Subhapriya Prabhu is telling that some of you are proposing that you want to go to Rajgarh Villa. Why? Because you want to serve change, right? So, change chahiye kuch to जीवन में. Why? Because we are bored, in material world, sitting at one place. So always one wants to change. But in Krishna's spiritual life, there is no such need of change. It is not that Dasyaras devotee becomes bored with Dasyaras and he says, थोड़ा वात्सल्य रस अभी लाना चाहिए, क्या है, हर बार सेवा करते रहो, थोड़ा मैं भी अभी प्रेम करूंगा भगवान के. But no, he doesn't want to change his position. He is so happy. So the flower is so happy giving that type of service to Krishna that the flower never wants to, become gopi or something like that. He is so happy and satisfied. He never even once thinks that let me become gopi also. Like that. Not like that. So he is so happy. So this is a very clear-cut difference between spiritual rasa and mundane rasa. That's why when Prabhupada was asked, what do you want to attain by chanting? And Prabhupada said, more chanting. So it is not that you want to do something else by spiritual activity. That itself is so joyful. And yes, so in the third point of limitations of mundane rasa is death. Death takes away, everything. And again, new rasas have to be experienced. May not be in a human form. It may come in animal form also, or tree form also. So rasa has to be there, but mundane rasa is chapala sukh, flickering happiness. It does not give us long lasting because of these 3 issues which we discussed. But whereas spiritual rasa is eternal, it is forever, and there is no need of change because one is so happy, one is so joyful like that. Like in material world now, even if you go to Rajgarh, you cannot stay there for long. After some days, you'll say, Prabhuji, wapas aate voice mein. Both ho gaya abhi idhar. So we see this is the nature of material world. We cannot relish one rasa for a long time, isn't it? But then we see in the spiritual world, one doesn't want to change one's position. One is so blissful in serving Krishna in whatever way it is. Okay, so what to do? I think we can stop for here because we will not be able to take up next paragraph. What time is? Okay.
Guruji,
Hmm?
regarding rasa, you're saying like generally, even in the path of spirituality, also we see some people fighting for religion, like especially Abrahamic religion, though they are convinced sometimes of their philosophy, or even in Hindus also, and they're convinced of their philosophy, but they are still fight because they feel sometimes insecure that if I have to prove myself highest, then I to demonize them. So in that way, basically, is it because they are not relishing their own thing, and therefore they are not having that rasa, and therefore they become violent, or how is that the reason? Basically, the person is not relishing his own practice.
Hmm. Just now I released the rasa of sitafal juice in our dinner brunch, whatever you call it. So, very nice rasa. Sitafal Mahaprasad juice made up of sitafal and milk. Anyways, coming back to your questions. So, yeah, it is because of mundane conception of spirituality. That's why they are not able to relish that rasa. Actually speaking, somebody is relishing this spiritual life. He can relish spiritual life everywhere. Once upon a time, Srila Prabhupada, he was sitting when Prabhupada was in Tehran. You know that Prabhupada went to Tehran also. And there Prabhupada was, in the evening time when their namaz is being read, the Prabhupada was just, deeply absorbed hearing that namaz. And then he was nodding his head also while hearing that. And devotees could see that he's relishing that namaz being read. He's not feeling any hatred. Not like that. This is, mlecha people. He could see that they're praying to Almighty Supreme Lord. And they are offering prayers to the Supreme Lord, and he relished that. So this is the real spiritualist who is really relishing spiritual rasa, because he relishes wherever it is available, in whichever form it is available. When it is available in real form, he relishes that. So that's why Prabhupada is to also, relish, for our devotees, we can relish of the glorification of the Lord, even in different literatures. And we see that genuine followers of other religions also, they relish the description of Lord given in our literatures also. There are so many people like that. But then those people who are only actually those who are fighting, they are not after spiritual rasa. They are again after mundane rasa only. They take spirituality as a weapon or kind of instrument in order to get material rasa. So it is not that they are destroying temples, so that because they are relishing spiritual rasa in a mosque. It is not like that. They basically want to enjoy the sovereignty over the country or a state or over the group of people, and that's why doing it. So they are trying to relish mundane rasa only. They have nothing about spiritual rasa and all that. It's not at all a spiritual rasa. But they are doing it in the garb of spirituality, garb of religion and all that. They are not actually testing religion. They want to test politics. They want sovereignty, kingship, control,
Yes, Guruji. So
enjoyment of the resources.
Because they are not tasting, therefore they are getting violent. Correct? Means there is no
Yeah, that is
in
the
their.
time. Yes, depends on what violent. I mean, now Arjun also became violent, although he was testing spiritual rasa, but it was for the sake of Krishna's pleasure. It was a dharma yuddha. So that's a different thing. But
And violence,
when it comes
which is not causing adharma, violence causing
to
adharma.
adharma, yeah, adharmic violence is basically the desire to get mundane rasa only. It is not the desire to get any spiritual rasa at all. It has nothing to do with spiritual rasa. Or they are in an illusion, maybe, like this terrorist. They are in a big illusion that if I, kill all the people of this India, then they will get to heaven. It's all illusion. So they are andhayata andhayrupaniyamana. They have been misled by blind leaders who are motivated politically. So person who is relishing spiritual rasa, for him, Sare Vishwachi Maje Ghar, and he desires welfare for everyone. You remember that day Achyut Prabhu and Mohan Prakash Prabhu, we were reading this Pasaidan by Jnaneshwar Maharaj. How wonderful it was, right? He is praying for the welfare of the whole world, isn't it? Jai Kranti Venkati Sando, Taya Satkarmi Rati Vadho, Bhuta Paraspare Jado, Mitra Jivanste. It's so wonderful prayer. He was praying for the welfare of everyone. Similarly, in Bhagavatam also that verse from 7th canto. Let the all, envious people become pacified. Let everybody be happy. Sarve atrasthina bhavantu, sarve bhantu, santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu. So like these prayers are there in Vedic, that they want welfare for everyone. That's the nature of a real person who is relishing spiritual rasa. Not being aggressive and trying to kill others for his own agendas. So violence has its own use, but it is meant for the welfare of a person, then it is useful. Like the doctor is also violent, but he should be violent for the sake of welfare of the patient. So that's the right type of violence. But the thief's violence is not considered to be as good as doctor's violence, right? So similarly, the dharma yuddhas which were fought, like Mahabharata and Ramayana, we cannot say that our, nonsensical wars, like Vietnam War or World Wars, they are as good as those wars. No, there is a Jameen Asman ka farak hai usme. So these ones are currently whatever they are just motivated by mundane rasa. It is not for any spiritual rasa. Like that. Is that all right?
Yes.
So okay. Thank you. So we can stop for today. Maybe we'll complete this because actually this Nectar of Devotion began from the reading between Achyut Prabhu and Vedanta Prabhu. That was the origin of this book reading. But somehow Vedanta is not able to join now. But that was how it began. And then we barged in all of us. हम बीच में घुस गए. But anyways, we completed almost first section of it. So in that, this one was missed out, I think, But it is very important, preface and introduction. So we will complete and then go to teachings of Lord Chaitanya, because that is really so important. You see, these points cannot be neglected, isn't it? Very, very important points.
At the end of Vedanta, one realizes Achyuta.
Okay. Uh-huh.
At the end of Vedanta, one realizes Achyuta. So Achyuta is there. That's why.
Very nice. Nice jugglery. Correct. Very nice philosophically put. When one comes to Vedanta, one realizes Achyuta. Too good. Jai Ho. Thank you. Hari Bol. Jai Prabhupada ki Jai. भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु की जय.
Bye.
Very good.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.